The Valley of Elah echoed with the clang of metal and the shouts of men. Two armies faced each other, poised for battle. On one side stood the Israelites, God's chosen people. They trembled before their enemies, the Philistines, a fierce and powerful nation. For 40 days, the two armies had stood their ground, fear and uncertainty hanging heavy in the air. Each morning, a giant emerged from the Philistine ranks, his voice booming across the valley, challenging the Israelites to single combat. The Israelites, paralyzed by fear, could only cower in their tents, their spirits crushed by the giant's overwhelming presence. The giant's shadow loomed large, a symbol of their collective fear. The king of Israel, Saul, a tall and imposing figure himself, was dwarfed by the giant's sheer size and the fear he instilled. Even Saul, the anointed leader, felt the icy grip of fear. They longed for a champion, a hero who would dare to face the giant and break the oppressive silence. Their hopes dwindled with each passing day, their faith tested by the giant's relentless taunts. Goliath, the Philistine champion, was a terrifying sight to behold. Towering over 9 feet tall, he was a mountain of a man, clad in bronze armour from head to toe. His spear was like a weaver's beam, its iron point gleaming menacingly in the sun. He strode back and forth before the Israelite lines, his voice a thunderous roar that shook the very ground they stood on. He was the embodiment of fear, a symbol of the Philistines' might. His every step seemed to shake the earth, a physical manifestation of his power. Goliath's taunts were as sharp as his spear, piercing the Israelites' morale. His presence cast a long shadow over the Israelite camp, a shadow of fear and despair. The soldiers huddled in their tents, their faces pale with dread. Far from the battlefield, a young shepherd boy named David tended his father's flocks. He was small in stature, but his heart was filled with courage and faith. David's father, Jesse, sent him to the battlefield to deliver food to his older brothers, who were among Saul's soldiers. As David approached the camp, he heard Goliath's booming challenge and saw the fear it instilled in the Israelite army. He was surprised and angered by their fear, their apparent lack of faith in God. David's heart burned with a righteous anger. He questioned the soldiers, asking why they didn't fight the Philistine champion. His faith in God was unshakable, his belief in their ability to overcome this obstacle unwavering. He saw an opportunity to glorify God and defend his people. David's boldness caught the attention of King Saul. Saul, desperate for a champion, summoned the young shepherd boy. He listened as David declared his willingness to face Goliath, his voice filled with conviction and courage. Saul offered David his own armor, a heavy suit of bronze designed to protect him from Goliath's attacks. But David, accustomed to the freedom of his shepherd's garb, refused the cumbersome armor. David chose his own weapons, a simple sling and 5 smooth stones from the nearby brook. These were the tools he used to protect his flock from predators, the tools he trusted and knew how to wield with deadly accuracy. He stepped onto the battlefield, a small figure against the backdrop of the vast armies. He carried his sling and stones, his only armor, the shield of his faith. Goliath, seeing the young shepherd boy approach, roared with laughter. He mocked David's size and his simple weapons, scoffing at the idea that this boy could possibly defeat him. David, undeterred by Goliath's taunts, responded with words of faith and defiance. He declared that he came in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom Goliath had defied. With a swift motion, David loaded a stone into his sling and whirled it around his head. He took aim, his eyes fixed on Goliath's forehead, the only part of his body not covered by armor. He released the stone, sending it hurtling through the air with incredible speed and accuracy. The stone found its mark, sinking deep into Goliath's forehead. The giant stumbled, his massive body crashing to the ground with a thunderous thud. David's victory sent a wave of jubilation through the Israelite ranks. They surged forward, their fear replaced by courage and renewed faith. They chased the Philistines from the field, their shouts of victory echoing through the valley. David, the unlikely hero, had not only defeated the giant but also ignited a spark of hope and courage within his people. The Philistines, demoralized by the loss of their champions, scattered and fled. They had underestimated the power of faith and the courage it could inspire. David's victory became a symbol of faith's triumph over seemingly insurmountable obstacles. It demonstrated that with God's help, even the smallest and weakest can overcome the greatest challenges. The story of David and Goliath continues to resonate today, a timeless tale of courage, faith, and the power of believing in something greater than oneself.